Before you open your laptop, before you sit down and try to focus, before you tell yourself you need to be productive right now, pause for a moment. Because if studying has been feeling harder than it should, if you've been staring at the screen, rereading the same sentence, or avoiding the work altogether, it might not be a discipline problem. It might be a nervous system problem. Most people try to study by forcing concentration. They push harder. They tell themselves to just focus. They get frustrated when their mind drifts. But the brain doesn't work well under pressure. And it definitely doesn't learn well when it feels overwhelmed. If your mind feels scattered right now, it's not because you're lazy or incapable. It's often because your brain doesn't feel settled enough to focus yet. Focus isn't something you demand. It's something that emerges when the conditions are right, when your nervous system is calm enough, when your thoughts aren't racing, when your body doesn't feel like it's being rushed or threatened. A lot of people sit down to study while their mind is still carrying everything else. Unfinished conversations, deadlines, expectations, fear of failing, fear of falling behind. And then they wonder why nothing goes in. Your brain can only do so much at once. If it's busy protecting you from stress, it doesn't have much energy left for learning. So before you study, the first question isn't, what do I need to get done? It's what state is my mind in right now? If your thoughts are loud, demanding focus is like trying to read in the middle of a storm. The goal before studying is not motivation, it's regulation. You don't need to feel excited, you don't need to feel confident, you just need to feel steady enough to begin. That might mean taking 2 slow breaths, letting your shoulders drop, unclenching your jaw, reminding yourself that this moment doesn't have to decide your entire future. Because when studying feels heavy, it's usually because we've turned it into something bigger than it is. It becomes a test of intelligence, a test of discipline, a test of worth. But studying is not a moral activity. It's just a task. And tasks are easier when they're smaller than our fear of them. Another reason studying feels so hard is perfectionism. The belief that you need to understand everything, remember everything, do it properly from the start. That pressure alone is enough to shut the brain down. Learning doesn't happen through control. It happens through exposure. You're allowed to be confused. You're allowed to not understand yet. You're allowed to read something once and not retain it. That's not failure. That's learning. Instead of asking yourself to study for hours, ask yourself to start for minutes. 10 minutes of real attention is far more effective than an hour of avoidance and guilt. Tell your brain, we're not committing to finishing everything. We're just starting. That reduces the threat. And when the threat reduces, focus has room to appear. It's also important to understand this. Your brain cannot focus when it feels unsafe. Unsafe doesn't mean danger, it means pressure, judgment, self-criticism. If every time you sit down to study you tell yourself you're behind, not good enough, or running out of time, your brain hears that as stress, not motivation. So before you study, soften the way you speak to yourself. You're not trying to prove anything. You're not trying to catch up with everyone else. You're just showing up for this moment. That's enough. If your mind wanders, that's okay. If you feel resistance, that's normal. If you don't feel productive right away, that doesn't mean it's not working. Learning is quiet. It's subtle. It often happens after the effort, not during it. So before you try to study today, remember this. You don't need to feel ready. You don't need to feel calm. You don't need to feel motivated. You just need to begin gently. Lower the pressure. Lower the expectations. Let the first step be small. And if all you do today is sit down and try, that still counts. That's how progress actually happens. Not through force, but through consistency and self-compassion. When you're ready, start with one small thing, and let that be enough for now.